Whatever next, Unplugged. Conversations about making transformation more human, more honest, and more likely to stick. And here's our next guests, Adriana and Ron, discussing the world of futuring architecture. Welcome to Whatever Next Unplugged. I'm really honoured today to have Adriana and Ron on the show. I met them 12 months ago in Amsterdam, and I was really inspired by what they were doing in their roles as futuring architects. So hi, Ron.
Hello.
Hey, Adriana.
Hello.
So Ron, come on, tell me, what does a futuring architect do?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm still a bit laughing about I met someone in Amsterdam, right? I mean, that sounds like a great start to a scary novel. So what does a futuring architect do? Maybe allow me to rewind a bit how we actually came to that term, right? I mean, it's I kind of snuck my way into the enterprise architect community, and people kept asking me, what do you actually think that enterprise architects are or should be doing? And at some day, probably at a Blue Monday or something, I said, we're all about futuring architectures for sustaining transitions, pausing for dramatic effect now. And so that's what a futuring architect does. It's we are very much motivated to understand what's happening in technology, digital technology, AI nowadays, right? Or what will be happening, what's around the corner, and how that could affect how we communicate, how we collaborate, what we build, for whom we build, and who gets to build. And that's why it's called futuring architectures, right? It's almost like scenario planning. It's painting futures, and we keep doing this. So we are not the end state people. You know that sometimes you meet an architect and they talk about the end state, the state to end all states, or something like that. That's not what we do.
Brilliant. And Adriana, I'm very much reading your newsletters that you send out, and it very much feels like you're at the intersection of technology, business, design, and culture. So tell me more about how you fit into this role of futuring architecture.
Oh,
yes.
So I actually started my career as a futuring architect. At the beginning, we didn't call it like that. I actually had to tick the box of an architect, which I obviously didn't, traditional architect, which I obviously didn't fit. So I also started trying to understand what it is, also what Ron envisioned in that role, for that role, and started a blog newsletter, let's say, called C News. We came to the philosophy that it's a different perspective on the world, right? The C News, the term coined by Brian Eno, a composer and artist.
Yeah.
Artist.
Fantastic.
C News is not genius. The perspective is that genius is not in the individual people. It's always been in the scene of people, technology, ideas, and tools, right? So I'm observing, let's say, 3 shifts in that, and I'm not sure if I'm now actually not deviating from what I do as a futuring architect, but actually this is what I do, observing 3 shifts that are unfolding on that level. And that is really that technology is a lowering barrier to entry to participate, which started with the internet. Right now, anyone can actually jump on and be part of an economic unit. That how does that change actually organizations? How the organization need to fit into that one? Because obviously the economy is fragmenting into really mini pieces of business owners. And the third one, how do you make sense of that? How do you make sense of who gets to participate? How do you empower them? And how do you make sense how the organization learn what's going on in the ecosystem? So in that sense, as a futuring architect, I am more in an orientation, sense-making role of what's emerging and how we can actually unlock potential with an organization, with people, with teams around me, that's hidden in the technology.
And actually, Adriana just made the best summarization when she did this.
It is very much
This is
fluid.
all you need to know. This is what we do.
It's fluid. It's looking out at the future. It's adapting. It's seeing the changes that are happening organizationally in the human and technology. And I mean, you said something, Ron, at the beginning about target states and the end state, and that's what enterprise architects tend to do. As you're very much more that continuous, fluid view of the future. What do you think it takes for enterprise architects to become more fluid and more embracing of the future possibilities and how to drive strategic advantage?
You can probably see me smiling now and maybe pausing. I think enterprise architects should stop calling themselves enterprise architect and just forget anything and everything they learned about the past, especially TOGAF and Archimate. I mean, this sounds a bit a cynical one, but it's for at least a decade, I really try to reframe what enterprise architecture is. And recently I stepped away from that one. I actually now see, I mean, literally today, right, on LinkedIn, I see yet another post about how much time an enterprise architect should spend on solution architecture, right? Is it 20%? Is it 17.48%? Stop that. Just be a curious person, right? That wants to understand what is next in technology, but also society or even geopolitics nowadays, right? And be inviting to a varied and large body of people to collectively make sense of it all. And I know that sounds wishy-washy, but at the same time, I mean, it's people get it when you start acting like this. And don't hang on to this, whatever you think the box of enterprise architect should include or exclude, right? Be a curious and often senior person in an organization and be like that.
So you're looking at, I totally agree. We need to look at the term enterprise architecture, no doubt about it. And like you, I get frustrated when I see those conversations on LinkedIn around solution architects and enterprise architects. So if the enterprise architects today struggle in this space for whatever reason, who are you seeing or what sorts of roles are you seeing that are embracing the future and the innovative side and the trends to the future? If it's not the enterprise architects, or if the enterprise architects aren't doing it, who is? And who really gets your stuff? Who's your tribe?
It's this is a fantastic question, because the answer is, I just noticed, right, and by you asking me that question, I realized something, and it is that our story seems to resonate with, I can say that massively with, here it comes, young people that are about to enter the workforce. And it's amazing how they understand this. And it's amazing how they want to take this, I don't know, worldview, this energy, this way of looking at the world, and weave it into their job. And most of the younger people I talk to are not people that want to be engineers. They want to be marketing specialists. They want to be HR and talent development specialist, and still they want to act according to this call of the wild. And I'm actually gradually thinking that this indeed, and again, it's going to be sound wishy-washy, but this is much more of a worldview than a specific role or craft. It's a bit like digital or e-commerce of the World Wide Web, right? I mean, we used to put the word E in front of things, right? E-commerce and e-this or I that. And now of course, it's commerce, right? I mean, when I was younger, I can remember the phrase going online. I haven't heard that word. I now heard the phrase going offline, right? So and this is my roundabout way of saying, I actually have a feeling that this is a way of looking at the world, be a part of the world, independent of any role or craft. So maybe the reason why I didn't succeed in reframing enterprise architecture is because of this. It's not a specific thing. It's almost the smell of the place, if you know that phrase and that lovely
Yes.
video, right? And I tried for quite some time. I kept insisting that EA isn't short for enterprise architecture, but ecosystem architecture. And I think that's kind of close or directionally correct. But now I just see people just start acting in this way. And what Adriana said about seniors, that the genius is in the scene, in the group, and not individuals. People look at you and they say, yeah, sure.
No,
And also-
agreed. And Adriana, do you buy into that? Do you buy into Ron's
Absolutely.
perspective that it's the younger, the curious,
for
those
sure.
that were digitally native, maybe those that are AI native? Are you buying into that you're seeing more traction from those open-minded people that want to see a better future than maybe the traditional roles that you're seeing in organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I would add onto that one, young and especially non-tech, perhaps.
Yeah, good one.
Because essentially, technology is now everywhere, and the internet was the first one, right? That really, like rewired the society. Now generative AI is rewiring even more and gives people literally the tools to build stuff. So everybody is essentially becoming a builder. And there is so much happening. And because we are in that sense-making role as futuring architectures, we attract especially people. Well, everybody is in the boat that we are trying to make sense of what the hell is going on and how do we fit into that one. And in terms of scene use, right? It's really about understanding what scene am I part of, and how I can actually consciously shape that scene, because essentially the future is created by us making choices and shaping that scene. So it's if I would reframe that question, who we don't attract almost would be the more very, very technically oriented people, right? That want to control things.
I mean, I guess there's definitely a case that traditionally, if you go way back, maybe Ron, to when you and I started, technology was a specialist niche. Only a few people understood it, could work with it, could even access it. The internet didn't exist. And you're absolutely right, Adriana. Right now, anybody can access technology. Anybody can be on the web. They can be on ChatGPT. They can be on Claude AI. They can be generating code. They can be testing and trialing things and throwing them away if they don't work. And that's culturally not something that maybe traditional technical people have embraced. They've been controlling, hierarchical, disciplined, and less fluid. Like we said at the beginning, less fluid. So, Adriana, I'm really curious about your newsletter, and you shared a bit at the beginning of the podcast about it. What sort of responses are you getting from the audience? Who's engaging with it? What sort of questions are they raising of it?
Well, essentially, I'm really framing it as a sort of we don't know what's coming. We are navigating. Come if you are curious, navigate with us. And essentially that's the people that come and respond. And then how it resonates is we typically get responses like, oh yes, this is exactly what I was feeling and thinking, but I didn't have language for that. So what we are actually doing as futuring architectures, we're actually putting language in the hands of people, so they can actually express whatever they are feeling towards whoever they are trying to explain what's going on, for instance.
It's the human side, isn't it?
Very much so.
Yes. It is the human side. And, you two both know about my book, Whatever Next. And I'm really trying to amplify the human side when I feel so much of technology has dehumanized us. And what I love about your newsletter, Adriana, is it really does bring out that human side. The things you're observing and the things you're sharing are less technical. In fact, they're not really technical at all. It's more about the human engaging with technology, business, and the opportunities that brings. Well, so Ron, if I was sitting listening to this podcast and I was listening to the two of you, what advice would you give me to help me lift up and lift out into this world view that you two are seeing and you two are creating?
Ooh, that's a nice one. It's the the first one would be, if you think you don't have the skills or the experience or any other barrier to entry, rethink again, because you do have the skills and the experience, because you are a human. Like Adriana said, right? I mean, everybody is figuring this out, right? People that claim that they know what's going to happen and who's going to win or lose, right? It's either a liar or a consultant or both. So it's the so I mean so there is. Forget about any barrier to entry. Forget about that. I cannot be doing this because XYZ. It's the just show up, and and there is so much out there that you can build on, right? So it's these and it's about unlearning things, right? I mean, let go of identities rooted in roles or job titles, right? I mean, it's the
cool one. You actually create your own job, right? Especially with the agents. I mean, I hear a lot of debates on how agents typically, right? Every technology we have that gonna replace people. But I actually really think that human is at the center in this whole agent thing, right? Because you essentially give agents instructions on what to do, right? You cannot have an agent without actually human intention. So start building, right? Agents, see what tasks you can delegate to those agents, have an army of agents and start to build a company, right? There is just so much you can do.
Let's go there because, AI has started to dominate. When I say started to dominate, none of us open up LinkedIn or go to a conference or a discussion without AI being discussed. And a lot of what I hear and see is around the technical side of AI, the LLMs, the AI governance, and absolutely the discussion about productivity, efficiency, and layoffs. Where do you stand? Where do you both stand with it in terms of enabling the world to embrace AI, but keeping that human and honest side? And what was your view? I mean, you decide who wants to go first, but what's your view?
I do first. No, I mean, so one of the phrases I keep slinging around is that AI, actually generative AI, is a very humane technology, right? You use it as a human, but you talk to it as a human. You don't use a programming language with curly braces and semicolons and that kind of things, right? You just chat to it. You talk to it in a language that suits you, your language, and it talks back to you in your language. So that in itself is already very, very humane, right? And what it produces is it's plausible human, right? I mean, it's and so that is one thing. And I think the second thing is this is a very different computer, right? So around 1945, when the first computers were being built, a decision was made to actually model the computer on the cash register, a calculator. They also could have made the decision, and those discussions this happened, to actually model it on the brain, which is not a cash register or a calculator, right? And now we see this alternative paradigm of computing popping up. And all these horror stories you read about how AI went wrong or will go wrong or is the end of humanity is actually because we are applying it to situations where you should have applied a calculator or a cash register, where things have to be right, where there is even a definition of right or wrong. There's also this whole category of things that we never automated away, right? That's the in-between people. And that's what this technology is good for. So again, this is about unlearning about 60 years of computing. This is not Excel.
Yeah.
It's something different.
Yeah, totally.
It's a ghost in a box.
It actually amplifies the humanity, right?
I think so too.
And creativity. And I'm really like, if it gets productive, that's secondary, right? You can get productive, but it's not the focus with this technology. I really don't buy into that one.
No.
You can really use this technology to do new stuff and do more stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's really it's really about leverage, right? If it's a technology that is good at certain things, it sucks as other things, right?
Yeah.
Where we actually now mostly use it for, right? We try to really we view it with the lens of the old computer.
Yeah.
Just like you said. So let's shift that lens to that new type of computer. We call it muse, right? It's something that inspires, something that thinks with you. And see what new things you can start building. That. So I think in that sense, the future is super interesting and exciting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It is super interesting and exciting. And I'm with the two of you. I'm 90% with the two of you. Okay, when we see that future, 90%. But the 10% is how some of that AI generative stuff is actually normalizing and generalizing us to what I'd call the lowest common denominator of being human. And I don't know whether it was something you wrote last week, Ron, about beige and everything's coming beige through AI. So absolutely, I'm with you in terms of it's a powerful mechanism for us. I'm sort of less with it because I do think it's making us beige, but I also feel for the curious, for those that want to explore, consider, scenario plan, like you said at the beginning, Ron, AI is so powerful to open up people's minds. And it's less about training people to follow a script and follow a process. And it's more about training people to be curious, ask questions, look at scenarios, and have their eyes open to possibilities. What do you think organizations need to do to get the possibilities rather than the beige outcomes of AI?
Yeah. I mean, it's beige because we make it beige, that we aspire to beigeness. This is probably the first time that you use the word beige in your podcast, I assume, right?
It is.
Yeah. It's the no. I mean, if you read that article that I posted this morning, it's beige because our processes are actually focused on beigeness, right? I mean, it's the industrial paradigm to make something repeatable, the same, getting out of variance and
standardization, control, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the
keep everything the same.
Yeah. I mean,
this is the break in that paradigm.
Yeah. And what the organizations need to do, in that sense, I'm atypically rather pessimistic. I really think that your typical 21st century industrial organization is fundamentally not equipped to absorb the full potential of this technology. You really need to reorganize different from scratch. And that's the and any organization that is built on doing the same thing repeatedly over and over and over again, right? I mean, go to your typical knowledge worker office, and what you see is a factory. It's an assembly line.
People clocking in.
And as you probably can hear, I recently switched careers, kinda. So this is also my bias coming through. But any process that thinks that beigeness, sameness, is aspirational, this technology will not unlock the potential we see. It actually will get into the 10% you just alluded to. But it's us. It's not the technology. I'm quite strong on that.
And that's where featuring architectures comes in, I think, actually.
That's where I was going to go, Adriana. So, we're sort of timing out a bit, but I'm going to come to you with the futuring architect. And although Ron started with, we can't have a target state, we always have to be evolving. I'm a great believer in decade thinking. So for you, what would be, if we go to 2035, so 10 years from now, everything you've picked up, all the sense making you're listening to and seeing, what do you dream for in terms of organizations and how those organizations have fully embraced the AI opportunity and fully embraced all of the cultural, business, technical and design trends? What would be your dream vision of that target state?
That's interesting. That's an interesting question because I actually have another newsletter or blog post called Unscripting, where I actually envision the year 2038.
What does it say? What does it say? That's great. This is your moment. Share it.
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, I see a world sprinkling with scenes all across the globe. Yeah. People converging around projects. They have all the infrastructure where they can meet on the internet or facilitated by the internet, but organization actually designed for that, right? Because now these organizations design for stability and control. In that future, organizations design for conditions. So actually these scenes can start flourishing. In that sense, you will have a layer of stable jobs, right? Where you still have like some full-time jobs, but the other layer, which is far more interesting, you will have people that have they have jobs at so many different companies. It's a whole sinuous materialized, let's say. I think, is there something?
No, I mean, it's a different form of organizing, right? Also a different form of career, that people maybe have much more portfolio careers, right? That it's you and you happen to do things instead of trying to fit into a job for 20 or 30 and sometimes 40 years of your life.
Yeah, I dreamed about that. I'm part of the transformation to transform this, because if you are an incumbent these days, right, and you see this fragmenting landscape, you have all these portfolio careers and people having small businesses. How do you fit into that one? You need to actually become smaller in order to be, to fit into that, start shrinking, or you become an infrastructure to actually start supporting whatever is going on. So that transformation I find quite interesting. And for that, again, you really need to design for that flourishment and not control. You need to give people the tools so they can actually express their potential.
I mean, that's awesome. I mean, to say let's future for flourishing businesses, that is so awesome. Look, you two, we could talk forever. We
I
could
know.
talk forever. We had 20, 25 minutes. We're on 26. It's a book. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and aspirations. And I really would hope that maybe in a year's time we get together again and we find out what new things are happening, because the world always changes.
You're going to insist we do.
Yes,
To
please.
be honest.
Great.
Thank you.
Whatever next, Unplugged. Conversations about making transformation more human, more honest, and more likely to stick. Find out more at whatevernextbook.com.